Alright, come one, come all, I'm taking all bets. Luffy versus Big Mom. The fight of the century, nay the millennium, nay the octomillennium. Those are 8 millenniums stacked on top of each other. Alright, so, I didn't think it was gonna happen this quickly. A straight up slugfest between Luffy and a Yonko. Granted, she's a little weakened at this point, but I think, you know what, I'm rooting for you, buddy. The odds are kind of not in your favor right now, but I believe in the MC of this series. I think we got this, Luffy. Bring it on. All right. So we're going to be selling little Luffy figurines, and we also got little mini Zeuses that we could sell, for Big Mom's side. Now, this could be a real big event. If Queen is smart here, as soon as he regains consciousness, he won't try to stop the fight. Rather, he'll try to, sell merchandise off of it, at least, bolster Wano's revenue streams a little bit before, the fight ends. And let's be honest here, the way that we all expected, Eneru coming out of the sky with the ancient weapon Uranus and then eliminating everybody. I mean, that's I think where my money's going. All right, so this will be One Piece chapter 947 titled Queen's Gamble. Spoiler alert, just like last time, it doesn't really go as planned. Although actually, okay, his gamble does pay off, but not in the way that he expected, okay? It's kind of like if you went into a casino and you bet, like, all of your money on a single hand of blackjack, and you lost all your money, but on the way out of the casino, you just trip and fall and land in a pile of money. So it still worked out, just not the way you expected, okay? Now, the cover page this week is nothing really all that crazy. It's just Brook on the deck of the Thousand Sunny with a conductor's wand, orchestrating a bunch of seagulls in a tune. So not that crazy. Still One Piece kind of crazy, but we've seen weirder ones, right? I don't exactly know how you get all these seagulls to harmonize at one point, but it is Brook, so if there's anybody that could do it, it's him. Also, we see that sea Neko thing off to the side. That was the guardian deity of Alabasta, so I don't know, maybe the Straw Hats went back to go visit Vivi, who knows, but she left forever. I don't know what the context of that is. So we start off the chapter with something kind of different. This is something Kubo always used to do back in the day. You get to see it every now and then with Oda, but not too much. Starting off the chapter with a flashback to a previous scene in the manga, okay? So it's kind of neat to see it here. So we go back to the Sabaody Archipelago arc at the auction house when Rayleigh took off Kami's collar, because as we all kind of figured, the feat that Luffy exhibited last week, using his Haki to rip off his and Hyo's collars and then throw them away as they detonated, that was indeed something very, very similar to Rayleigh, and Luffy remembered it as well. Pretty much as soon as he did it, and they landed, and Hyo was just like, "I will stand here, Luffy. You must increase your powers in times of crisis." And Luffy's like, "Okay, let's do this." And he remembers what Rayleigh did, so he's like, okay, so I'm on the right track here. It's definitely something related to that, but Luffy does not remember how he did it, just that he did do it in a time of crisis, okay? But Hyo has confidence that he'll be able to master this technique, because Hyo thinks to himself as he's standing there, like, I'm sure it might be on the inside, he's kind of freaking out a little bit, like, okay, there's a giant woman in a muumuu about to obliterate everything behind me, and I'm just gonna hope this straw-hatted lad I met is gonna be up to the task here. But Hyo does think, holy crap, that technique Luffy showed was already something way more advanced than any kind of Ryuo or Haki that he could teach him. If this was something like Luffy somehow managed to get to Wano without learning armament Haki, if Rayleigh never taught it to him, I'm sure Hyo would have been able to teach him pretty much everything Luffy knows right now about armament or Ryuo, the hardening, all that crap that he's able to do. That's kind of the stuff that Hyo can do, and he can also harden up his whole body and stuff that we've seen earlier, the flowing Sakura. But this technique, as we find out later in the chapter, does not deal with hardening just your own body with armament. It has to deal with taking that Haki and basically forcing it into your opponent or into another object and destroying that person or object from inside. All right, I just realized, because I'm wearing my backup suit because I lost my old one and I'm wearing this straw hat, I look pretty Amish right now, but it's okay, because the Amish are great. They're building a restaurant down my street. They know how to work, okay? But, so, my point is here, if the Amish were going to learn Haki, it would be armament Haki, and they would definitely be able to use it on their horses. Okay, are we all good here? Awesome. Alright, so, here we go! The epic clash! Big Mom rears back, she's like, "Oh, shoot!" I like some tea in the afternoon. Go! Luffy, he raises up his hands, he armaments up, steam starts coming out, you know, Hyo's there, just like, we can do this, he can do this, he can do this. I imagine, like, when the anime gets to this scene, man, I want to have the triumphant music playing in the background, like Overtaken or something. It's just like, or no, just play the opening. I don't know what the opening of Wano is going to be yet, but it's going to be amazing. Just cue up the opening, or just take a reference from Dragon Ball Super and play Ultimate Battle in the background, like, come, gotta do this. So Big Mom rears up, goes to punch him, and Luffy gets knocked into a wall. Okay, so, I lost that bet. You know, I think we might be overthinking these events a little bit too much, you know? Like last week was like, all right, Queen versus Big Mom. Now stop. Before you even think about that fight, from what we know about Queen and Big Mom, who do you think would win? Just off the top of your head, it would be Big Mom, right? I think the problem is we were stopping to think for too long. Like, well, maybe if Queen could do this. No, Big Mom wins. Same thing with Big Mom and Luffy. If you just go up to me and be like, Big Mom v. Luffy, and I'm like, oh, Big Mom. But, you know, maybe if Luffy could practice a little bit and Big Mom is, you know, obviously weaker. No, you're thinking too much into this. Big Mom. I'm like, all right, fair enough, Big Mom wins. Now, here's the thing, though. Last time, because I was talking about this, I forgot to bring this up, but obviously, yeah, if she is not using Haki, and, you know, Luffy's obviously made of rubber, you know, people were saying, oh, there's no way Big Mom could hurt Luffy in that regard. And I forgot to bring this up, and I'm like, no, she wouldn't be able to, like, hurt him, but, you know, all Luffy's Devil Fruit does is just, like, make sure he can't get hurt from blunt damage that's not Haki, right? It doesn't, like, negate the force or anything, so if Big Mom is like rearing up a punch and then boom just slams into Luffy, it won't hurt him, it'll send him flying like Team Rocket over the horizon. Though the fight will be over pretty quickly, right? So that's basically what happens here. Big Mom with just a regular old fist just slams into Luffy and Hyo at the same time. It connects both of them and they just both get sent flying to the other side of the prison yard and get smacked into a wall. Now, don't worry about Hyo. He's banged up, but as he stated, he managed to use Ryuo in the last second to manage to survive that attack. Luffy is, of course, made of rubber, so he's fine. Although, I would have really found it funny if, you know, Luffy comes out of the wall like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, like he's an accordion or something, like, and he just, okay, well, that was a stupid idea. So he pulls out freaking Hyo out of the wall. Like, oh man, what the hell did I do? Oh man, old man Hyo! I'm sorry, bro! I'm sorry! So it's funny. It's just like, listen. When they get to this scene in the anime, I don't want it to be like the cliffhanger at the end of the episode. I want it to do just what I said. I want it to be like, you know, Big Mom is rearing up, Luffy's like, you know, standing his ground, doing the sumo armament, Hyo's back there, the epic music's playing up, everyone's getting hyped. I want shots of everybody in the Udon prison, all the prison guards, all the prisoners staring on like, can he do it? Can he do it? And then I don't want it to end the episode right there. I don't want the big, like, to be continued. No. I want the episode to finish with Luffy just, we got this, and then boom, slamming into the side of the wall. And maybe a sad trombone in the background. Like, boom, to be continued. Okay, so, yeah, don't feel bad for Luffy. It's a Yonko, and he didn't get hurt from it. It's just, he's trying to do a technique that he's only done once, and he doesn't even know how he did it, alright? So it makes sense that he wouldn't nail it right away, right? Anyway, yeah, this is at the point when Hyo explains to Luffy what I just explained earlier. Not about the Amish thing, but about how different types of Haki work. It's like, Luffy, the kind of Haki, the kind of Ryuo you know how to do right now is just, you know, hardening up your own body. However, there's another kind that invades your opponent, right? And that's what you did to the collars. When you grappled with... it was just, that was just, Senbon Zakura, don't worry about that. So, whenever, you know, Luffy grabbed the collar and bent it, you know, that was his Haki going into the collar and destroying the mechanisms inside of the collar. So that's why he was able to rip it off. Some people are also throwing out the possibility it could have been Luffy's, like, awakening, turning other things into rubber, because he was grabbing the collar and it looked like he was, like, bending it like rubber and he was ripping it off. I didn't think that because, number one, it was very clear that it was Haki involved because, you know, the color of the collar changed. And also, like, even if Luffy did turn the collar into rubber, I mean, that would have maybe made sense if he would have stretched it out like a rubber band and then, like, stretched it out and then reached it over Hyo's neck, but he didn't. It was very clearly shown Luffy grabbed the thing, bent it, broke it off, and then threw it away. So I was thinking, yeah, this was definitely Haki related. But if Luffy were to ever master his devil fruit to the point where he awakened it and he can turn other things into rubber, maybe a very similar thing. That would have been able to get him out of that situation too. Just turn the collar to rubber, stretch it out, reach it over their head, and that would have worked as well. Just not in this particular instance, okay? So Hyo, there's a moment where, like, Luffy is, like, shouting at Hyo. Hyo's in his arms. He has a bump on his head, and he's like, I've explained to you the Haki that you possess. You're a potential young man. Take it with you as my final lesson. And Luffy's like, Gramps, no! And you had a scene where he just, like, goes limp, like Hyo got, you know, he's dead or he got knocked out or something. But in the very next scene, Big Mom goes to attack him again, and Hyo kind of just, like, he dodges it, and he's like, good luck, Straw Hat! Yeah, it's all on you, buddy! He's like the whole, yeah, my whole idea for, like, you know, standing there, holding my ground, and hoping you could get through, that didn't work out too well. So you know what? I'm gonna run over here. You have fun with this. I believe in you. You got it, all right? So I'm loving Hyo. I want Hyo to stick around until the end of this arc, okay? I really don't want Hyo to die. Can we manage this somehow? Okay, I love this old dude. All right. Right, so now we get a little bit of some deja vu. Remember back in Totland when Luffy was jumping in and out of the mirror world and Big Mom was there, like, chasing after him, like, rah! Luffy's like, no! Jumps back in the mirror world, back out again. There's Katakuri, there's Big Mom, Katakuri. Kind of the same deal here, except way less Katakuri. So now Luffy begins running away from Big Mom, and the chase continues to the other sections of the Udon prison. Remember that the section that they've been in this entire time, the section where Luffy and Kid and Killer were and everybody was working and the Sumo Inferno was going on, that's just one section of the entire thing. It's like a rock quarry, or it's like a mine of what they're doing, the prisoner mine, right? However, this is the full scope of Udon. This is what it looks like from the air. It kind of resembles a Bleach, you know, like Quincy Pentacle, if you have that reference, but go ahead there. This is just, of course, a crude drawing on my part, but I think it works there. So the circle on the very bottom, this is like a top-down view, of course. That's the kanji for just rock. I put that Iwa. I just put that there because they're very clearly working in a rock quarry. The next section that they burst in through on the giant doors that are separating the first part of the prison through the second part, there's 5 parts in total, 5 areas where the prisoners work. That has the kanji for iron on it, and tetsu. And it's also referencing that this is the iron works, okay? So I like to think that each section of the Udon prison has a different kind of labor, a different job that each of the prisoners do. In the section where Luffy was in, it was all about like a rock quarry, like mining certain minerals, carrying them over, throwing them down, and stuff like that. And in the second area, that's the ironworks. So that's where they have like a blast furnace and make various weapons and things in Wano. Don't know what the other 3 prisons are, but probably not as better as the other ones. I'm sure there's not like, you know, all right, well, the first 4 prisons are back-breaking labor, but the 5th one is you get to work in a nice flower garden. So then Big Mom and Luffy, you know, she's chasing Luffy in the process, busts down that giant iron door, and now she has some sort of like huge metal, it looks like a bat that has like a bunch of nails sticking out of it, but given Big Mom's size, it's probably like a giant metal girder or something, or like a steel beam or something, and she's just swinging that thing around like Metal Bat versus Garo, and just busts down the door. And then these prisoners in this section of the prison, they had no idea what was going on over there, so they're just working their regular day. I'm imagining they work in a freaking ironworks for a living. They got blast furnaces everywhere, you know, molten magma and crap. Probably a lot of noise. They're probably not hearing everything that's going on right over the door. That's probably a thick metal door. So all of a sudden they're just doing their regular work day. It's just like, hey, Bert! Friggin' bring that over to furnace number 4, and you go over there. Then all of a sudden the freaking gates burst open and Big Mom's swinging a giant girder around. Luffy's bouncing around trying to escape her. And they're like, what? Big Mom, huh? So that begins the grand chase through the Udon prison. We unfortunately don't get to see most of that. We don't get to see like the other sections of it. Now, of course, geography is everything, so I would have preferred to see that. But I just want you to imagine just Luffy bouncing around like a ball, you know, avoiding Big Mom swinging this giant thing around at him, okay? She might even manage to hit him a few times with that, and that would just send him off flying even faster, right? So anyway, Queen regains consciousness. He gets back up. Babanuki's there. All the other prisoners are watching her just stampeding off to the other sections of the Udon prison, and is like, what are we gonna do? And Queen gets back up, and he's like, ugh, what are we gonna do? I'll tell you what we're gonna do. Wano country is Kato's land. We can't have her stamping around. I got a plan. And so everybody's just kind of looking to Queen because he's the best shot they have at facing her off. I mean, Big Mom basically manhandled this giant Brachiosaur form like it was nothing, but you really got nothing else to go on here. Who else are you gonna throw at her? Alpaca Man? Oh yeah, I'm sure Alpaca Man will be Big Mom's weakness. Maybe if you could turn her into a llama or something with a crazy subplot involving John Goodman. That would be funny. But not really an option right now. So here's what Queen comes up with to deal with Big Mom. This is his big gamble. He's like, all right, here's the deal. Udon is laid out basically like a circle, or rather, the different sections of Udon prison connect back one to another like a giant loop, all right? So if Big Mom keeps rampaging, she goes through the second area, then breaks down the other gate and into the third and into the fourth and into the fifth. Eventually, she's just gonna loop back around to the first area, the rock quarry, where they're at right now. And he's like, all right, we're only gonna get one shot at this, all right? But if we can lure her back here, we're gonna know exactly where she's going, all right? So we can plan an attack at that exact moment. We're only gonna get one shot at this, okay? So then we have a montage of Luffy just, whoa, jumping around the prison. Finally, she makes her way all the way back, just busting down these huge iron gates along the way. Finally, she makes it back to the first area. Queen, in the meantime, has transformed back into his Brachiosaur form and is way up top. Also keep in mind, the prisoner mine in Udon is a giant mountain, alright? So here's the surface of the wastelands of Udon. Then there's this mountain that goes up, and at the top there are a bunch of more mountains, and the prison mines and the ironworks, they're kind of below that. It's made it so you can't just like jump off the edge very easily. Kid still managed to somehow escape, but he's Kid, he's a really strong guy. He probably would have figured something out, right? But it's designed to be like, the prisoners are working down here, and you can kind of observe them from higher up. There's like a ledge. So Queen climbs up on this ledge, turns into a Brachiosaur, stares down like probably several hundred feet, maybe all the way down into the prisoner mine, and then Big Mom bursts in, and they're looking around, she's looking around, she's like, Oshiruka! Oh, there it is! So there's another giant pot of Oshiruka, or it could be the exact same one, and so Big Mom is lured over to that, which might as well be a giant bullseye right below Queen, and so she opens up the pot, and there's no Oshiruka, and she throws the pot on the ground, she's like, damn it! And then that's when Queen makes his play, while Big Mom is, like, distracted long enough staying in the exact same spot, Queen, in his Brachiosaur form, like several tons of just pure meaty funky dinosaur, jumps off the side. This needs to be in the new Jurassic World film. I don't know how they're gonna work it in. Like, dinosaur wrestling, the franchise has to reinvigorate itself again for like a fourth time. But yeah, just imagine this. I still don't have a Brachiosaur figurine. I'm sorry I don't, but just this is the Allosaur. Just make good with this. All right, Big Mom is the Triceratops, and freaking the Allosaur is a Brachiosaur. All right, just go with it. She's just like, she's like, Oshiruko! Brachio bomb! Boom! Okay, already Queen, like, you had me at funky, but then you really stole my heart when you transformed into a giant wrestling Brachiosaur, but then you had to go further with it, and you had the alliteration, you had the Brachio bomb. I'm like, that sold it. Queen, you're my favorite member of Kaido's crew. And that includes Hawkins and Drake and even Kaido himself. Kaido is a dragon. I'm just saying for right now, Queen kind of edged him out a little bit, all right? Because that's incredible. Not only do you hurl your giant body off of the freaking mountaintop, but you do it head first. That looks like you would sprain your neck, you know? I was actually kind of expecting that a little bit because it's just like he crashes down his head right on Big Mom's head. I was expecting Queen's neck to just you know, crumple up and just his skull to shatter as he falls down because Big Mom is just that tough. But no, it didn't really seem to harm Queen at all, and unfortunately, it didn't really seem to harm Big Mom at all either. But I'm sure it looked really cool at the moment and created like a giant shockwave when that thing hit and just knocked everybody down. Luffy kind of worms his way off to the side while this is all going on. He's not like right next to it when this happened. But yeah, slammed right down on Big Mom's cranium, and as we all know from cartoon and anime logic, if you get hit in the head hard enough the first time, instant memory loss, instant retrograde amnesia. And all that takes to solve your problem is just take out a hammer or something and bop yourself again, instantly resumed. I wish amnesia was that easy to cure in real life. You know, you just go into the hospital and like, doctor, he can't remember anything. It's like, oh, all right, well, why do you need a hospital for this? You know, just boom, and then problem solved. But yeah, Big Mom regains all of her memories pretty much immediately as well. She gets hit on the head and she's like, what happened? My head hurts. What happened? And I'm thinking for a moment. I'm like, okay. She regained her memories that she lost, but you know, this could still maybe work in our favor. Maybe she remembers everything about Totland and all that stuff, but at the same time, her experience in Wano, you know, meeting Tama and everybody and the people that were nice to her at Okabore Town and everything, maybe that time spent with them will change her mind on things. We don't get, okay, to be fair, we don't get it 100%, but it probably didn't, because Big Mom just is like, all I remember is coming to on the beach and going to that dirty, filthy village. Ugh. So she doesn't like bring up, and just like, then I met that stupid girl that was talking about taking all my Oshiruko away. But that's probably how she is right now. She's back to being Big Mom, right? So it's funny though, because she instantly regains her memories, and so Queen lands and he turns back into his human form, and he's just like, what the hell is she made out of? You know, like, you'd think with that, like, I want you to think about this. Like, seriously, just taking away from the fact that Big Mom is as tough as she is, you'd think that being crushed by a like, multiple-ton dinosaur, it would have, like, you know, drilled her into the ground a little bit, you know, just, like, hits her head and just, urgh! You know, like, even if it didn't actually hurt her, it would just, like, knock her through the freaking ground. Or the ground would, like, shatter and crumble beneath them. It's just, like, she's strong enough to, like, absorb all of that impact into herself. Like, damn, Big Mom. But yeah, anyway, yeah, she turns around and sees Queen standing there looking dumbfounded, and Queen immediately is like, oh crap, we're dead, and it's like, because he can sense the aura changes. Also, Big Mom recognizes Queen. She says, you know, oh, I know you, you're one of Kaido's lackeys, you're Queen, right? And Queen, his mustache goes flying up like, oh! And this is a part, I feel bad for the other guys that working in the Udon prison at Wano. You know, I feel bad for all those random just guards. They're off to the side and they're just crying their eyes out. Look at these poor bastards. You know, they don't get paid enough for this crap. They're just like, oh, we're all gonna die. Oh, I didn't want it to be like this. You know, like that's them. They're just like coming face to face with the Grim Reaper here. But unfortunately, well, I guess for their benefit, you know, but it's all good. You know, it's like they're literally coming face to face with like the Grim Reaper here in a pink moo-moo. But it doesn't last very long, because immediately after recognizing Queen, Big Mom drops. Like, not because Queen did anything, just because she fell asleep. Because she's Big Mom, and I have no idea what's going on with her body structure. The biology of Big Mom is something that scientists have not really quite cracked yet. Mostly because nobody wants to study the biology of Big Mom. You know, know, nobody wants to know what's going on inside of there, okay? But she just collapses to the ground and starts snoring, which leads to a hilarious yet very practical scene from Queen. Can you just imagine? Queen's freaking out like, oh, we're gonna die. And then she just and starts snoring so they can hear it. And Queen's like, all hands on deck! Grab the sea prism chains! Chain her up! Bring all the animal tranquilizer! How much of it? All of it! Did you not hear? Every single chain in the prison! Chain her up! Inject her! Go like crazy with it! Set up an IV into her! I don't know, just keep her down and keep her chained up! Every single person in this prison that is not absolutely necessary to keep this place running. So like 95% of the people in here, you guys over there playing cards, you guys over there praying, just get up, get over here, chain her up, we're taking her to Onigashima, stat! Literally every second is life or death now. So that's a smart move on Queen. I mean, what else would you do in this situation? You know, if you were Queen, that's the smartest thing I can think of you could do, because the only person in all of Wano that's capable of dealing with Big Mom would be Kaido. I mean, yeah, you got King and everything, but screw that. I would just go immediately to Kaido. That's your only shot, right? So she's down and out, chain her up. They have like a boatload of sea prism stone chains, and Queen even mentions like the puracy stone, not that weak sauce diet crap we give to the prisoners to keep them working. Get all the sea stone, wrap her up in like 10, 12, screw it, 26 layers of the stuff, and just like that scene in remember that scene in Freddy vs. Jason when you know, Freddy possesses that guy and it's like that pure like trank, you know, undiluted tranquilizer, and you know, Jason's coming at him and he just like injects him with that crap and drops him, kind of like that, like giant syringes like full of freaking trank, just, you know, keep pumping it with it. I don't know how they would pierce her skin with that. Maybe like it's some other kind of tranquilizer, like gas or something. I don't know, just somehow get it into her system, right? And she's still sleeping when they cart her off. They get on board Queen's ship, which is actually not the same ships that we saw during Zoe arc, you know, when you had Jack's fleet, Jack's mammoth ship, and then the Scorpion ships. So I don't really know what the deal is with the Scorpion. Maybe it's just like Jack has like a second sigil and he's like, yeah, mammoths are pretty cool, but I really wanted to be a scorpion, whatever. Because Queen's ship is a brachiosaur. That's the figurehead for that. So remember, there's rivers and everything that run throughout Wano that separate all the different regions, okay? So they're probably hopping on one of those rivers, and the river will eventually take them to the sea, which will eventually take them to Onigashima, which is a short boat ride from the mainland of Wano. So that's where they're heading right now. Queen's out of the prison. Probably a lot of the headliners and prisoners, not prisoners, but the prison guards are leaving too. Big Mom wrecked the place, so Queen's last orders upon, like, when they're wrangling her all up and chaining her up, he says over to Babanuki, I'm like, Babanuki, you're in charge, you stay here. She destroyed all of the freaking gates, lower all the emergency gates, just send all the prisoners back to their cells, just get everything under control. And Babanuki, he says, all right, Queen, well, I can do that, but there is one prisoner I'm kind of nervous about. But then Queen just cuts him off, because this is more important. He's like, I don't care, just get her on board, we're ready to go, all right, let's roll. And they get her out of the prison as quickly as possible, right? Now, here's the thing. Originally, I thought Babanuki was referring to Luffy. He's like, well, I am, but I'm worried about that one prisoner that managed to get away, Luffy. But that might not be the case, because the last scene of the chapter here is after Queen and everybody leaves and the prison yard is just quiet again. Luffy's kind of there stretching, you know, getting ready to go crazy, getting ready to go wild. He's like, yeah, now that they're finally gone, I'm not going to have any major challenges, but hey, you know, I can still keep going. And Babanuki turns to Luffy and he's just like, oh, right, yeah, you got freed too. Implying that he wasn't referring to Luffy. He might have been referring to Kawamatsu, possibly. I can't really think of, I mean, there might be a few other prisoners that might cause him problems and stuff. I mean, we've only seen one section of the prison. Also, I forgot to bring this up earlier, but when Big Mom burst into the Ironworks facility, that second place, we did have a close-up on one particular prisoner who looks rather devilish, just the way he is, like, his sneer is. So I'm thinking that might be another member of the Yakuza, you know, under Hyo, okay? Because there's other members scattered throughout Udon that are separated, okay? But now all of the main gates are destroyed. They have like the emergency gates, but they're certainly not as durable. It seems like, you know, the main gates are those giant iron ones that, you know, you have to open. The emergency gates are more of just like a gate with like, you know, cross sections in it, like you can look through it, and that gets lowered. Momo and Chopper and Kiku and everybody, they're still in the Tama as well. I think they still stay in the prison, right? Or maybe I think Momo and Tama, they stayed out of the prison and the gate is shutting, and they're like, the gate's shutting, what do we do? And they're like, well, they told us just to stay put, so I think they're outside the prison, but Chopper and Kiku are still inside of the prison, right? So they could still encounter Luffy. And the last scene of the chapter is Babanuki witnessing Luffy there, completely freed. He doesn't have his Sea Prism shackles on, he doesn't have the collar on anymore, and he's just like, he's out of the ring, and he's just like, all right, well, I'm free now. I think I'll be taking Udon Prison if you don't mind. And then that's where the chapter ends. And no break next week. So, this is gonna be fun. Not the prison break I was expecting, but okay, sure. Why not? Queen's gone. Most of the personnel are out of there. Pretty much the only threat they got now is Babanuki. They have to deal with him. I mean, they might have some other headliners hanging around, but I think it's mostly just Babanuki. If Luffy can just take that dude out, which I'm feeling like he'll have no problem, I think we'll be good, right? He could just either, yeah, and there's plenty of options for that. He could just go a Gear 4th King Kong gun. I don't think Babanuki be able to take one of those things, right? You know, Snake Man or, you know, Tank Man or whatever kind of thing Luffy's got now. It's free reign against this dude. So Luffy takes out Babanuki, basically rules over the prison at that point, and then they go and free the other prisoners in the other sections of the area and then try to have a mass breakout. So I think this is going to go along pretty well. Now, how is Luffy going to learn the Ryuo if Hyo can't really teach him? Because that's the reason Hyo didn't do it. I brought that up last time. Why didn't Hyo just use that Haki to break his collars? Well, it's because Hyo, you know, he knows stuff about Haki, but he doesn't have that kind of level with it, right? So Hyo might be able to teach him, like, the basic concept of it, but he really can't go step by step with Luffy because he doesn't know. And Luffy's not really one for those kind of instructions anyway. So Luffy's just, once again, he's going to have to just keep going up a bunch of more opponents here. Not really a lot of people that can give him a major freaking fight. But he's just going to have to keep going up against Babanuki and some other headliners or whatever and keep trying out that technique on them until it sticks. Maybe he might, like, you know, punch down Babanuki and wait for him to get back up, and then he does it again, trying to master that technique. That's the best he could really do at this point, right? In order to figure out this move. And that's really how Luffy just figures out everything, you know, just by trial and error a lot of times. Just like, all right, I understand the concept. I just need to, you know, put it into practice, like, you know, a few times in like a, you know, like a training sparring area, and then we'll be good. Big Mom just turned out to be a little bit too strong for Luffy at that one point and knocked him into a wall. So Babanuki might be better to, you know, scale that down a bit there. So yeah, that's the situation we have here. I'm thinking next chapter is going to be pretty intense. Now, as for what's going to happen with Big Mom, there's two ways you can look at this. The first way is Big Mom regains consciousness despite all the trank, despite all the Sea Prism chains. In fact, that would be freaking crazy if Big Mom becomes like the first person shown to just break out of Sea Prism and all this stuff, which is sheer physical force. You know, if she wakes up and she's like, because Sea Prism stone chains are referred to be like harder than diamond, like you can't break them. That was why, you know, the Enies Lobby arc was so intense, you know, like, oh, you can't just break out of Robin's handcuffs, you need the key, so you have to go out and fight all the members of the, you know, CP9. That would be crazy if Big Mom woke back up and was able to just, like, maybe strain herself a little bit, but be able to, like, shatter all those, like, harder than diamond chains. And I know diamond isn't like, you know, it's hard to scratch, but it's not the most durable. This is anime, this is manga logic. Diamond is the hardest thing, and it's the hardest thing to break ever. Okay, let's just roll with that, right? And it's Sea Prism, okay? So that would be crazy if she would be able to break it without her her Devil Fruit power, although I guess she could still use Haki, or if she was able to just wake up despite all the trank in her system. So that would be one option, to wake up and then, you know, free herself and then go back and rendezvous with her crew. The other possibility is she stays under long enough for them to get her to Onigashima, and then she is Kaido's prisoner, which I kind of want to see that happen more, just to see the interaction between Kaido and Big Mom. They might bring up more about their past or whatever. Just like, how dare you treat me like this after what I did for you, after I saved your life from that giant whale aboard Rox's ship 42 years ago, or something like that. Like, I would love that kind of backstory, learning a little bit more about how they know each other, right? So I'm honestly hoping that Queen does succeed, that they manage to get her all the way back to Onigashima, and then Queen just comes back to the prison later and everybody's gone. So that I think would be funnier for me. Like, okay, so let's just roll with that. But yeah, overall, really good chapter this week. You know, Oda playing with our expectations again. Like, oh, you think Queen's gonna fight Big Mom in an all-out fight? Not really. You think Luffy's gonna, like, train with Big Mom to get stronger? Kind of. I mean, he learned a hint, but nothing really all that more than he knew before that. So, yeah, that's just how One Piece goes. Very unpredictable. But, yeah, next week will be pretty good. Tomorrow, we have the entrance into Wano in the anime. And then next week, July 7th, that'll be the beginning of the Wano arc with a brand new intro and everything in the anime. So I'm really excited for that. Super pumped. Yeah, you guys have a good day. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking101 signing out. Roar!